All right, we are live. So I want to say welcome to everyone. It took me a second there to get everything squared away. I came upstairs a little bit later than normal and just wanted to make sure that I was in the chair at the right time, which I was. I just had not yet hit the go live button. So I apologize for that. Well, welcome to everyone who is watching live. I know that today is the start of the second quarter. If you are, in fact, watching live, if you're watching the replay, we'll certainly want to say hello to you as well. And feel free to drop into the comments where it is that you're watching from. You can also feel free to say hello. Also, want to make sure, let me make sure I have my comments up. I am a bit discombobulated today. I've been doing some recording. And so now what I have to do is get everything in its normal place. So bear with me 1 second, and I do apologize. Um, I do apologize for not having everything set up. So let's see here. Hit the wrong thing there. There we go. All right, so now I have my comments set up. So let me just kind of share with you what we're going to be doing today, which is we're going to introduce the second quarter and some things that we can do since it is the second quarter of 2026. Can you believe that already? Here we are moving into the quarter. I hope that your first quarter was productive, and I hope it was something that allowed you to move closer to your goals. However, in the event it wasn't, that's okay too, because the one thing I love about what it is that we do is that you can always do a reset. You can always hit that reset button, and that's the beautiful thing about what it is that we're doing. Can you do, hi, Manuel. It's nice to see you on. Just making sure everybody can hear me clearly. Let me just, looks like my gain might be just a bit too high there. So just again, I was recording last week, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go through. Now, one of the things I always encourage you to do is to grab your notepad or however it is that you take notes so that you can, in fact, capture the information I'm going to be sharing. Because one of the other things I'm going to be doing is telling you about something that I'm really excited about and showing you how you can actually join a community of individuals that are working on the same types of things that you are. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is to tell you a little bit about who I help, what I do, and so forth. So, if you are interested in building an online business where ultimately you can sell digital products and courses and also earn income from affiliate marketing, then I'm one of those individuals that has learned how to do that. And I specifically focus on individuals that are 45 years of age and older. And I show you how to build an audience from scratch. Because, the thing about it is for a lot of us, we have to start from zero. And there aren't a lot of individuals that teach you how to start from zero. I mean, the very basics, and take you all the way through having a plan that will allow you to create products that will help you generate income. So, if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, then you are definitely in the right place. All right, so I want to say hello to everyone that has joined. I see Denise has joined us. And let's see, I probably should have let me just pop some of these up. Justina is on. It looks like we also have Denise in place. Good afternoon. I'm excited for you to be here. And of course, saying hello to Manuel as well. So, as I mentioned, don't worry about where you are. If you did not or have not yet made as much progress towards your 2026 goals as you would like to, we're not going to worry about that. We're starting today fresh, or if you have made some progress toward them, then we're going to show you how you can, take the opportunity to jump from those into where you really want to be, because there is that possibility that the goals you set in January were smaller than what you are able to achieve and accomplish, because sometimes we sell ourselves short. And so I want to be able to be that person that helps push you a little bit, not so much so that you feel like you're overwhelmed or stressed, but really it's kind of like when you're in the gym and you're working with a trainer and they say, come on, you can give me two more. And somehow you muster up the strength to do it. So just think of me as that trainer saying, come on, give me two more, but not for me, for you. It's all about helping you to build that audience a little larger than you thought you could. It's all about helping you create the products you didn't quite think you could. And it's all about showing you how you can start earning income again from your digital products, your courses, as well as affiliate income. All right, so it looks like Mickey has joined us, and I understand. I appreciate you being here. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it. And today I have my notes in a different place than I normally do. So you're going to see me looking over to the side here. Let me bring up the lights a little bit. Looks like it's a little dark in the back. There we go. That may help a little bit. Okay, so what I want to do is to first of all, let's start off by asking this question. Did you set goals for 2026? And if so, how are you doing? You don't have to give me the goal, but yes, you set goals, or no, you didn't set any goals. And if you did set goals, how are you doing according to those goals? So just kind of let me know that in the comments. And what I want to get into during this first part of our training is the type of thing that, let's see here. The type of thing that some of us face. And what that is we start starts happening to us. And so we start falling behind, or we don't get off to the start that we had hoped for. Well, that is very normal. That happens to a lot of us. But as I mentioned, just understand that you can always reset and move forward. And the thing that you want to do is to make sure you are not letting your slow start kind of dominate your thinking, because you have to be able to move that out of the way and just focus on what you can do going forward. The only thing you can control is what you do from this point forward. So just kind of keep that in mind. And so the first thing I want you to do as you start thinking about this second quarter is, first and foremost, I want you to think about goals you want to achieve in this second quarter. Now, as I mentioned, what I focus on is teaching people how to build audiences from scratch or grow them larger than they currently are. And then also showing you how you can get to the point of creating digital products. But what I always like to tell people is there are some steps between starting your audience and selling digital products. And the reason that there are those steps in between is, yes, you can sell digital products with absolutely no audience, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to use ads, or you're going to have to go to a sales platform. For a brand new person, I don't really recommend either one. I want you to get into the habit of building an audience from scratch so that you can then move those people onto an email list, and from there use your email list to prime people and tell them about the products that you have. That's the way I recommend we do this. So the first thing I want you to focus on is understanding that you need to know who it is you want in your audience. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to know who it is that you want to help. I was very clear when we got on today by saying my goal is to teach individuals 45 years of age and older how to build an audience from scratch so they can ultimately get to the point of creating and selling digital products. That's what I do. You have to get that crystal clear on what it is you do, because once you know that, then the next part, honestly, is easier than you might think, which is creating the content that's going to bring those people into your world. And so one of the things, and one of the reasons why I wasn't in this chair last week was I spent the time focusing on a content creation course. which takes you from knowing absolutely nothing about content creation all the way to the point of being able to create it and by type and how it's going to pull in your audience. And the reason why I know that works is that's exactly what I did. And so content, being able to create good content and posting it on a consistent basis is what's going to bring your audience in. Once you have your audience coming in, getting to the point of being able to achieve your goals is going to be much easier. Now, notice I didn't say easy, I said much easier, because in the world that we live in, meaning this online space, I'm never going to tell you anything's easy. All of it is going to require some work. It's also going to require some trial and error. It's going to require you to fail. It's going to require you to make some mistakes. It's going to require you posting content and getting absolutely no responses, but being able to get back up the next day and do the same thing all over again. See, every one of us that has built an audience of any kind on a social media platform or YouTube, we've been there. We started from zero. See, your first subscribers, if you're on YouTube, are probably going to be your friends and family members, and they're only doing it because you asked them to, not necessarily because they're interested. That's okay. But the people that we really need in our audience are the folks that are looking for answers to problems that they're currently encountering. And our job is to get to them. Okay. So that's what I want you to be thinking about. And so I want you to think in terms of this second quarter. I like to break things down into phases or steps. So, this first phase, I want you to get really good during the month of April, or whichever, whenever you happen to be watching this. Right now, we're talking April. I want you to get really good at being able to not only create content, but post it daily. And when people start commenting, asking you questions or engaging by liking and so forth, specifically when they're commenting and asking you questions, I need you to get really good at engaging back with them, meaning you respond to their questions. You, in turn, are, maybe even going a little bit further. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Someone asked me a question based upon a YouTube video that they had watched, and they said, I need to know how to do this. So, one of the things I thought about was, how can I make this more valuable to this individual? So, what I did is I opened up Loom. Loom is just a screen recording software. I actually walked them through the process by sharing my screen, but I said to them, hey, I can't remember the person's name right now, but hey, let's just say Julia. Hey, Julia, thanks for asking me that question. Instead of trying to type it out, I just thought I would show you. So let me direct you to my screen, and I walked her right through the steps. Then I said, I hope this helps you. And if you ever have any other questions, feel free to ask them. Now, how do you think that made Julia feel? Special, right? Acknowledged, like I was actually listening to her, that I responded to her and went the extra mile of actually showing my screen and recording a personal video. I encourage you to think about ways that you can give back. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying think about ways that you can go a little bit above and beyond what other individuals are saying. All right, so let's see here. Um, Mickey says, I didn't even want my family and friends to really know about my channel unless they were into it. Exactly, because quite frankly, what's going to happen is when you get your friends and family members to watch just simply because you're trying to rack up some hours, they're probably only going to watch, and I'm talking watch hours. They're probably only going to watch that one video you asked them to watch. They're not going to come back regularly. So you really have to be able to attract and bring in an audience of people that want that type of information. And as I said, I don't want you to get stressed about it. I just want you to know that when you can answer questions for people, simple questions for those individuals, when you can engage back with them, when you can almost anticipate the things they're going to struggle with because they're new, I promise you that's going to bring your audience in. Now, it is not going to happen overnight. So I don't want you to think during this time of April where you're posting content on a daily basis that at the end of April you're going to have, 1,000 subscribers or followers. That is not going to happen. I'm telling you that right now. It will take you some time. And the other thing you have to recognize is this: there are more eyes on your content than you might think. And here's what I mean: the average person will watch your content, they will never like it, they will never comment on it, you won't even know they were there, but they watched it. So understand there are a lot of people that are actually looking at your content, but you don't even realize it. And some of them, because they're still kind of feeling you out, it's going to be a while before they will finally start to like your comments or your posts, whatever they happen to be. Or, that rare individual that's then going to comment. But I'm telling you, they will come, particularly if you get good at identifying the type of problems they're struggling with. Okay. All right. So I have really gone on on that. But I wanted you to know that's the thing I want you to think about as you jump start or start from scratch your first month. Now, the second month, the month of May, what we're going to be focusing on is building our email list. So we're going to focus on creating a lead magnet. We're going to do that by figuring out the problems that they are in fact struggling with. And we're going to create something that they're going to find so valuable that they're willing to exchange their email address in order to get your guide, your checklist, your swipe file, your whatever it happens to be. And again, that is not that difficult to do. So I have a community, and I'll start telling you about this, and then I'll share a little bit more about it later on. But this month, during the month of April, one of the things that I'm doing is I am really going to focus in on content creation, meaning getting my community members in the habit of creating content daily. Next week, I just announced this in the community. I'm actually going to run a 5-day challenge. And during that 5-day challenge, what I want everyone to do is to get into the habit of creating a piece of content and getting it posted. All right. So if that's the type of thing that you feel you need, assistance with, then I want you to jump into the community. The name of my community is the Digital Business Roadmap. There's a link in the description of this video, and you can actually join it at no cost. Now, there are some other levels that if you decide you want to go deeper with the information, that you can in fact join those as well. But initially, just join the free level, check it out, and decide whether or not it's for you. Now, in the month of May, we're going to build a lead magnet together. And you know what? We're going to build a lead magnet in 4 days. Let me tell you why I say 4, because on the 5th day, we're launching it. Okay, it's time out for us taking, 3 months to build a lead magnet. It's time out for us doing all that, because the other weeks during the course of the month of May, we're going to be focusing on getting into the habit of communicating via email to our subscribers on a weekly basis. So we're laying the foundation. And then in the month of June, we're going to launch a digital product. And we're going to launch a digital product in 4 days, or create it in 4 days and launch it on the 5th day. So that's the program we're on. So if that kind of thing sounds intriguing to you, and you want to be surrounded by people doing the same thing, get in the community. And again, the link is actually in the description box. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Because we want to have a very productive second quarter. If we can get into the habit of doing the things I just described, then, and understand, I should state this, even though we're talking about creating content in the month of April, you don't stop creating content in the month of May or June. You keep doing that. These other things like the email list and the lead magnet, that's add-on stuff. So every content creator who's successful, they're creating content. They also are growing their email list, they're nurturing their email list and nurturing by sending out weekly emails. And then they're creating a product that they can now move their audience to. And when I say their audience, I'm talking about their social media audience as well as their email list. Here's the thing. The people on your email list are warm. They've been hearing from you. They know who you are. So they're going to be much more likely to buy your digital product when you actually launch it. So you really have to be the plate spinner. I don't know if you've ever watched a video of a plate spinner, but they start that first one, they move to the second one, they get that one spinning, they get the third one spinning, they get to the fourth, then they got to run back and start spinning that. You're going to get into I'm going to teach you how to get into the habit of doing all of those things, because if you can do all of those things, you're going to have a constant influx of people joining your audience. You're going to have an influx of people that are going to join your email list, and then you're going to have an opportunity to have a lot of eyes on your digital products when you actually launch them. Okay? All right. So let's just see here. I'm going to take a quick look at the comments here. All right. So let's see here. Okay, I'm going to go back here. So Mickey says that special touch can make loyal fans and subscribers. It actually can. I'm telling you, don't be afraid to do it. And Loom is free. So you can just download it onto your computer. And honestly, when I recorded that short video for that woman, I want to say it took me 5 minutes because the video was only about 3 minutes of that time. I really didn't do any editing of it. And then I just, saved it, grabbed the link, and posted it back to my YouTube channel so that she could actually see it. All right. So don't be afraid to do that when people ask you questions. All right. So let's see here. Okay. Let's see. You answered 4 questions live the other day, and it was nice. Yeah, I'm telling you, people love that. And refer to people by name when you're answering questions for them. They love that. We love hearing our own names. So don't omit that. It's just like, for example, when you send out email messages, don't do this all the time, but periodically put that person's first name in your email message that goes out. And I'm talking your weekly messages. And understand, you don't have to do this individually. What happens is your software that you use for email messaging and marketing, that will do it for you. So, it's not as difficult as it may sound. And let's see, Mickey says she's looking forward to it. Great. I think you're going to be excited because I think that concept of, we've got this short window, let's get it done and let's get it launched is it's all, I don't know about you, but for me, that adrenaline sometimes is what's necessary for me to move from point A to point B. All right. And also, Denise says, my lead magnet should be done within the next 5 days. Hopefully, it can be, no question about it. And then you can launch it. Absolutely. Because the thing, remember, with a lead magnet, and if you're brand new, you may not know this, a lead magnet is only focused on one thing. It's solving one problem and one problem only, which is why we can do it relatively quickly. Okay. So I want to make sure. Yep, let's go. That's how I feel. That's why I named this about the second quarter. We're going to get going. So I've essentially given you the game plan. Now, the other thing that I want to do is to talk about something that you can actually focus on. And I think this will help you because it has certainly helped me. And it's this. It's the power and the focus on the ones, I guess is the best way to say it, which is instead of trying to be on multiple social media platforms or YouTube, we're going to focus on one. One platform, because trying to focus on more than one platform is too difficult and your attention is going to be split. And unfortunately, you're not going to be as productive as you possibly could. So focus on one platform. The second thing, one audience. We are not trying to be multi-passionate in this particular aspect if we're trying to get to where we're going, which means you've got to really come up with a niche that you're excited about, and you have to think about who your ideal audience or customer is going to be. Remember, I told you what I do, which is I teach you how to build an online business, and I focus on people that are 45 years of age and older. That's who I work with. So if you're saying, well, I'm interested in fishing and I'm interested in crocheting and I'm interested in photography, I'm not saying you can't build a business around all of that, but it would kind of be like your audience showing up on your, let's say, YouTube channel, and they came there because they were interested in crocheting. And now all of a sudden this week you're talking about fishing. I promise you, those folks are out of there because that's not what they came for. So understand you've got to really get focused in on one niche, all right? So, or one audience, and also one niche. So that's your second one. And then the last thing is going to be your one offer. See, when we launch our digital product in June, and some will do it sooner than that, but when we launch in June, we're launching one thing. We're not going to be launching 15 different products because, again, whatever it is that you launch, you now have to invest the time into promoting. And you don't want people to land on your page, especially when you're brand new and they see all these different offers. And now they're like, well, which one should I get? And here's what I can tell you. When people feel confused, they would rather do absolutely nothing than make a bad decision. What do I mean by bad decision? They don't want to buy the wrong product or the one that is not going to help them. So initially, we're just going to focus on one offer. All right. So we're going to keep things real simple. And I can assure you, if you do things in this order, and if in fact you follow the strategy that is laid out, it's going to be so much easier for you. You'll be in a position to build that audience, grow it, and serve your specific audience with things that they want. We're even going to be asking them questions like, what is it that you need to know? That's one of the things I did when I created the content course that was just launched in the community. I asked them, and what I found was that there were a number of people that just didn't understand how to create content. Well, I get that because it does take, it's not that it's difficult, but if you've never been taught how to do it, then I get why you could struggle with it. So I want to be able to get that behind us so we can get to the next step. And then we'll continue to add on additional things. So, for example, in July, we'll talk about building a funnel. So, I've really thought through this entire process. And that's why I'm saying if you're new to my audience, I want you to definitely jump in and join us if these are the types of things that are interesting to you. Okay, now, when we talk, I'm not going to get too much into this, but when you start talking about creating content, initially, you may want to focus on searchable content, meaning the things that people are going to Google and going to YouTube and they're typing in, for example, how to plant flowers, how to fertilize the soil, so in other words, it is things that they're trying to get an answer to. And if you can create content that answers those questions, now you have the opportunity to pull people into your audience that have never seen you before, that have never known you. Now, why do I tell you that? Because that's how my audience grew. I can assure you that with the exception of a couple of people that are on here, every person that is watching this found me because of some video topic that was either evergreen or it answered questions that they were looking for answers to. So if it worked for me, I'm no one special. I know it can work for you. So also think about that. Now, I'm not saying all of your content has to be searchable, but when you're new, give it a shot. Okay? Because that whole thing of trying to go viral, trust me, you will burn yourself out trying to come up with a topic that's going to take you viral. All right. So, and that's what a lot of people will do. All right. So, give me 1 second here. I've been talking a lot. Okay. So, let's see here. I'm going to pop this one comment up. Yep, I can't wait. I've been struggling with this. I'm telling you, a lot of people struggle with it. And I was one of those people. I always like to tell this story about how I was on this it was a YouTube video or something. And the person was like, when they were talking about creating your first digital product, they were like, well, just ask your audience. Now, I wanted to look over my shoulder because I'm like, what audience? I don't have an audience. Well, what am I supposed to do? So that was one of the reasons why I started to focus in on teaching people from the very beginning. Because to me, if you start just simply by trying to teach people how to create a digital product, well, wonderful, they can create it. But how do we know that's the right digital product for their audience? How do we know that they are going to be able to sell it because they haven't asked anyone whether or not that's the product they want created? There's so many reasons why that's almost like starting, in the middle as opposed to taking people back to the very beginning. So I'm excited that you are, in fact, Justina, are you in the community? Let me know whether or not you're in the community. Okay. And Denise says, I'll be working on content regarding how to water bath canning for April and how to do laundry. Now, for those of you that don't know, Denise has a very successful YouTube channel, nearly 100,000 subscribers. Okay. And so, if in fact you want to learn things about how to be a really effective homemaker and all things home wise, if you will, go follow her. And that is, in fact, her name. I'm going to pop that back up. It's homemaking with Denise. And full disclosure, Denise is my sister-in-law. I always like to make sure I'm completely and 100% up front with you. I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm holding something like that back. I'm telling you to follow her, and I'm also telling you that here's someone that has built nearly 100,000 subscribers, but she's still a student. She's still on these trainings, getting as much information because one of the things that she wants to focus on, and correct me if I'm wrong, is getting into building her email list and also creating digital products that she can, in fact, offer to her audience. So, I want you to know that everybody continues to be a student. I know I certainly am. I'm continually working on being a student, and this is all part of growing, okay, and achieving our goals. All right, so now the next thing that I want to do, I'm going to skip some of this because I really want to get into what I think some people may be experiencing. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to answer this one. Let's see, I'm working on what I think would be very helpful for my audience. I'm praying that I can resume recording content over the next few days. I'll tell you, having just recorded a course, let me tell you, give yourself more time to do it than you think you might need because life happens, so you absolutely can do it. But like I said, give yourself a little bit more time and give yourself some grace. If you don't meet the deadline you had originally set for yourself, it's okay. Just get it done and get it launched for your audience. All right, Mickey? Okay, so now here's the next thing. If you think you're behind, because this is something I hear from people all the time, I'm overwhelmed. I listen, you are running your own race. When you're in or watching any videos on YouTube, if you're in my community, I want you to never get into the habit of comparing yourself to other people and where they are in terms of their progress. You're not them, they're not you. You are simply running your own race, which means there's no such thing as being behind. If you feel like, you should be further ahead, no, I think you're probably exactly where you are supposed to be. I mean, I know for a fact when I look at my own self, I say to myself, well, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. No, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I feel like life will keep teaching us the same lesson until we get it. So sometimes you're being held back because there's still something you need to learn. But the other side of it is, remember, every day you can hit the reset button. Every day you can get started. So I want you to get out of your head that you're not where you want to be, that you set these goals in January, because everybody else was setting goals, and you set some really lofty goals, and you're looking at it and saying, how am I ever going to achieve that? Well, we still have what, 9 months of the year left to go. And you kind of would be surprised at what you can achieve once you start getting some momentum. It's amazing what you can achieve. So don't beat yourself up. Just, be thankful that you are where you are and that you're learning what you need to in order to move to the next step. All right. Now, the other thing I want you to do is to think of this as a 90-day sprint. I like to call it a 90-day sprint. And the reason for it is when you have a defined period of time that you're going to focus on something, now you can do it. It's kind of like if you said, for the next 5 days, I'm going to drink 80 ounces of water. Well, you can do it because you're thinking, well, it's only 5 days. So I can do that for 5 days. Well, same thing with business. Business, I feel, is built in sprints. And so when I say a 90-day sprint, doesn't mean you have to start today. You could start 2 weeks from now. Whatever day you choose to start is the right day for you. But what I like about 90-day sprints is it gives you a defined period of time that you are running for a goal. And you know that you are setting a specific goal to achieve something that is going to move your business forward. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a book that has helped me tremendously. And for those of you who know me, I'm a big reader. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm a big reader. Okay. So the book I want to introduce you to is called The 12-Week Year. Now, the 12-week year essentially discusses a 90-day sprint. It's where you focus on one, two, or no more than three goals for a specific period of time. I'm actually going to, I think I can show you. Let me see if I can just share my screen and show this to you. So bear with me one second. Because I was recording, I got to make sure I'm giving you the right screen share. So give me 1 second here. I think. Hold on. There we go. All right. So let me turn this on. I'm actually showing you my Amazon store. So let me go to the point of opening this up. I think I can do that. And this is the book that I wanted to show you. It's called The 12-Week Year. So if you're interested, this again is my Amazon store. You can go in and grab it in whatever format you want. I like the book so much. I have a hard copy and I have a Kindle version and I have the audio book, because I believe that when you listen to things over and over again, and sometimes you need to refer to the diagrams that they describe, it helps you. All right. So feel free to go to my Amazon store. It's linked in the description if you choose to. If not, just go to Amazon and get the book. It doesn't really matter how you get it. The point is, get it. Now, in the 12-week year, and why I want to share this with you is when I did my first 12-week year, which was in 2024. I was not monetized on YouTube, which meant I didn't earn revenue as a result of people watching my videos, but I had people watching my videos on a regular basis. And so I set that as a goal for myself. And so during that 12-week period of time, I went all in on the activities necessary for me to get monetized. And you know what? It worked. And it was because I had specific activities that I was focusing on, and I had one single goal. So now, like I said, in a 12-week year, you can, in fact, have more than one goal. But sometimes you just need to get that laser like focus on the thing that's going to help you more than anything. Now, was my goal to get monetized My goal to get monetized was to get that off my list, not that that was going to be my sole way of earning income. I want to be very clear about that. Now, as I look at my goals, one of my biggest goals is to focus on growing my community. Okay. So there you can set whatever goal it is that you want, but whatever you set, I encourage you to make sure it is something that's going to move your business forward. So for you, it might be, getting your lead magnet launched and beginning to grow your email list. It might be growing your list, meaning your audience from 0 to, 1,000 followers, or people that are on your, that are actually following your content. And I'm saying followers because you might be building on Instagram. It might be getting your first 500 email subscribers. You just have to decide what it is for you, and it's going to be very personal for you. But what I like about the 12-week year is it actually gives you a step-by-step process of what you would do on a weekly basis and how you evaluate your progress toward that goal during the 12-week period of time. And because it's only 12 weeks, if you can keep yourself laser focused on it, you'd be surprised at what you can do in terms of achieving your goals. So maybe you're ready to do a 90-day sprint. Maybe you're not. This might not be the right time for you because you have to evaluate what's going on in your life. If your life is crazy right now, if you're working a lot of hours, if you're doing whatever, then this might not be the right time for you. However, what I would say is keep this in the back of your mind because there will come a time where life is not as crazy, and that might be the time for you to start running your 90-day sprint with the goal of, again, moving your business forward. All right, so that's definitely something that I wanted to share with you. Now, the other thing is I want to talk a little bit more about how, with that, some of the things that you could do during that 90-day sprint. Now, like I said, it might just be something as simple as getting yourself into the habit of posting daily. So, you're making sure one piece of content goes out every day. It might be that email list, it might be the lead magnet. I'm sorry if I'm going back. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything on the information that I've put together for you. So, I definitely want you to really think through where your business is and where you want it to be at the end of the second quarter and what you really want to accomplish, and maybe set that as your goal for yourself. The other thing I will tell you is this. It definitely helps you to be surrounded by other individuals who are doing the exact same thing. So even if you don't get into the community, I don't want you to feel like I'm pressuring you to get into the community. I'm definitely not doing that. Then get an accountability partner. And it needs to be someone who is building a similar business as yourself. One of the things I had, and I've had my accountability partner since, I want to say it was 2023. We were in the same course together. And so during that course, in our the community we were a part of, they suggested that each of us have an accountability partner. And so what she and I would do was initially, as we were going through the course, we would meet once a week. And then, from that point, as we started achieving our goals, then we spread it out because then we both got so busy and life was happening to us. Then we went to once a month. But what we did is we always made sure that when we came to our accountability sessions, we talked about what we had hoped to accomplish, what we actually accomplished, and then we talked about what our plan was to accomplish something going forward. So again, you just need somebody else that you're going to be accountable to that is working on the same thing. If that's not your thing, then get in the community because there's definitely going to be somebody in there that is working or is at the same level as you. All right. Now, I want you to think of this just for a second. I want you to think about that goal that you want to achieve. And now, what I want you to do is to think about how you would feel at the end of June once that goal is accomplished. I want you to think about what that would mean to you. I also want you to think about what you're going to do to reward yourself because I believe every time you hit a goal, you need to reward yourself. Now, it doesn't have to be anything huge, but it should be something. Maybe it's I don't know, a weekend away. Maybe it's a new pair of shoes. Maybe I don't know what it might mean to you. It might mean just giving yourself a week off. It might mean, any number of things, but you should, in fact, have some type of reward for what it is that you've just accomplished. You've got to look back and say, wow, I'm proud of myself for having done that. So make sure you end up doing that as well. All right. So let me find out now if there are any questions. Let me know whether or not this information has helped you as we've gone through it. And again, any questions that you might have. Let's see. Justina said, yes, she did join the community. Great. So I hope you're going to be participating in the 5-day content challenge next week. So definitely want to make sure that you do that. And let's see. Okay, now Denise, you said you still compare yourselves to others. Absolutely not. You are so much further along than most people. Okay, I want you to think about it this way. There are people right now who would love to have the audience that you have. And the good thing about it is for you, you've done a lot of the hard work in terms of building the audience. Now you just have to put the other steps in place to build the email list and to start building the products or whatever else it is that you want to offer to people. Because I can assure you, there are people in your audience right now that are waiting for you to create a product so they can buy it. And it's because they want to go deeper with you. They want you to be their guide. They want you to share that. And that is true for all of you. See, right now, if you're not quite where you want to be, and particularly if it's because you have allowed fear to hold you back, well, I need you to work through that. And the reason why I need you to work through that is there are people right now waiting for you to show up on the scene and present the information in a fashion that works for them. See, right now, you may not realize this, but you have a way of presenting content. You may speak with an accent. You may be one of those individuals that just has a way of getting through to people. You might have there's something about you that is unique. And that one thing or those several things about you that's unique is exactly what's going to bring your audience to you. They've just been waiting for you to show up, but you've allowed your fear to hold you back. Or if it's not fear that's holding you back, then it's just a matter of you getting started. Okay. So I encourage you to just say, you know what? I'm hanging up my shingle and I'm going to get out here. I'm going to make mistakes. I recognize that that's going to happen. I am going to fail. I'm going to try some things that absolutely are not going to work. And you have to be okay with that because that's what happens to all of us. All of us. I can assure you, I have definitely posted some content that has fallen flat. It just has. I can share so many different things that I've done that just didn't work out. But instead of looking at it as a failure, instead, what I want you to do is to think of it this way. What was I supposed to learn from that? What did you learn from it? Well, what you might have learned from it was your audience doesn't want that type of content. What you might have learned from it was your title could have been better. What you might have learned from it was there's something different that your audience wants from you. You could have learned that. I mean, there's just so many different ways that you can think about it. I also will encourage you to do this. As you do begin to build an audience, start engaging with them from the standpoint of asking them, what is it that you want me to create? And then you create that. Because if they've told you what they want you to create and you turn around and create it, they're more likely to consume it or buy it. And I say consume it because it might be something you're giving away free. It might be a video you're going to create. It might be a lead magnet. It might be a free masterclass you're going to hold. It could be any number of things. And if it is something that you're selling, well, if you've created exactly what it is that they've asked you for, they're more likely to buy it. So just kind of keep that in mind that, we can't allow ourselves to be held back by fear. And, and this is the other thing. Sometimes you just got to launch the doggone thing. It's just like yesterday. I'm going to tell you a personal story. So, my content creation course is in two parts. It is lectures where I teach the concepts, and then there are tutorials. Okay. And so the lectures were done, they were recorded, they were uploaded, and they were just sitting there in draft mode. And so then the other part of it that I have to create is the actual tutorials where I show people step by step, sharing my screen and showing them how to create content. And so I was going to wait until all of the tutorials were done. And then I said, you know what? That makes absolutely no sense. Launch it as it is and improve it later. That's what I teach. So I had to tell myself that. Launch it as it is and improve it later. And so I just said that in a post in the community. Here it is. There's other stuff that will be coming, but at least you can get started with this. Sometimes you're going to have to do the same thing, because another problem that a lot of us will encounter is this. We will create it, and then we'll make it a little bit better. And then we'll want to make it a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And you know what? It's sitting on our hard drive collecting digital dust. Launch it. Okay. I want you to launch it and then come back and improve it later on. You can always ask your audience for feedback. Ask them what's missing, what was unclear, what should I have included? And then you go back, you create another version of it, and you relaunch that. So, that's the thing I think that we often do, because we're thinking things through too much. We're just in our heads. Meanwhile, somebody else who's brand new on the scene, they come in, they launch it, and it has grammatical errors. It has, the colors don't make sense. The pages are out of order, the whatever. And you know what? They get it out there because they understand that, life chooses speed. It loves speed. It's that concept of speed. Just get it out there. Now, I'm not telling you to launch something that's crappy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that often what happens is your perfectionism is going to kick in. And if your perfectionism is what's going to keep stuff sitting on your hard drive that really should be out and available for others to consume. So does that make sense to everybody? and let me know whether or not you've ever done that. Have you ever created something that's fantastic or pretty doggone good in your eyes, and it could help somebody, but you still haven't launched it? Let me know in the comments if you've ever done that, because I have a feeling that I'm not the only one that has experienced that. And I hear about it all the time of people telling me, well, I just have to do this one more thing to it. Or how long have you been working on it? Well, for the last year. No. We are launching things. We're no longer doing that. So, Mickey says, oh my gosh, you're talking directly to me. Well, it's because it's happened to me. I know. And so I want you to get it out there. And that's why when I said in the community, 4 days to create, and that's being generous, and we're launching on that 5th day. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it in a short period of time, but we're doing that. Let's see. Yep. Let me tell you, perfectionism gets most of us, especially those of us that really want to create something really good that's going to really help people. But what we don't realize is what we think still needs work would be just what somebody else needs right now. And so, I want you to think about it that way, particularly if your audience is beginners. They just want to see, the basics. They want to see it step by step. So I want you to think through this as you're going through it. And here's the other thing I'm going to say. If you have something on your computer right now that has been sitting there, maybe it's a master class, maybe it's a ebook, maybe it's whatever. I want you to launch it. Now, understand if you have not yet built an audience, you may not have anyone to launch it to, but at least it's available. I want you, and you, in my description, I think I have, I'm not sure. If not, I'll link it afterwards. I'm going to send you or give you a link that shows you how to get it up and ready to sell it. Now, like I said, if you don't yet have an audience, you may not have anyone that is going to buy it right away, but at least you will have the satisfaction of knowing you have launched it. And then when your audience does start to show up, it's already out there and ready to go. And you have something that you can direct them to. So launch it. Okay, you're going to hear me say that over and over again. And remember, when I say that, I'm the first one who hears it. So I'm also talking to myself as well. All right, so any questions that you all have as we are on here, I just want to make sure that I get those answered before we wrap up for today. So like I said, feel free to drop them in. And remember, there's a little bit of a delay. So as I ask you a question, you're not going to hear it for about 20 seconds or so. But if you do have any questions, drop them in. You can also, if you are watching the replay, drop your question in and I'll come back and I will answer any questions that you put in as well. All right, so we are just about ready. Let me just make sure that I have not missed anything that I wanted to cover. So, the last thing that I will say is today, whatever it is that you've decided that you're going to be working on, let's say for the next 30 days, I want you to take one step toward that. It might be releasing a piece of content. It might be, getting your lead magnet, set up. I don't know where you are as you're watching this, so it's hard for me to say exactly what it is that you're working on. But whatever it is, do one thing that moves it forward, because it's easy to just sit back and decide you're not going to do it or you're going to do it next week. No, we need to really go ahead and get going. And what you're doing is you're just encouraging yourself to start taking action. So that is, the thing that I want to leave you with today is to do something that moves you forward. If you decide you want to do that 12-week year, you see what the book looks like, get it in the form or version that works best for you. And finally, if in fact you're interested in joining the community, the link is going to be in the description of this video. So next week, I will be back here in this chair, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on next Wednesday. And each time I come in and I will teach you, a concept that falls within my content pillars, which again are going to be content creation, email marketing, also creating and selling digital products, and affiliate marketing. So again, one of those topics is what I will be covering each time I'm in this chair on Wednesdays. So with that, I appreciate you being here with me, and we're about ready to wrap up. So I want to tell you to have an awesome day and an even better week, and I look forward to seeing you either next week on the live or maybe in the community. So take care and have an awesome day. Bye.